Well, good evening, everyone. Good to be in your companies. Once again, this is your friend, Bishop-elect Edlin Scott, and I'm really excited again to be coming into your homes with this powerful truth. This is Phenomenal Leadership, and we air twice a week on Tuesdays and, of course, Thursdays. Certainly, I am honored to have been coming into your homes for about 2 years, and I appreciate the privilege that you tolerate me. And it is my prayer that we are being a blessing to you in some way or the other. If it's only bringing encouragement to your life, we really appreciate it so much. So go ahead, reach out to somebody, let them know that I am live. And we got an absolutely provocative program for you tonight. For the past week, I've been dealing with how leaders gain influence. John Maxwell says that leadership is all about influence. And he says nothing more, nothing less. So, everybody has influence. Everybody has come here with some level of influence. But it is critically important as a leader that you increase your influence, because you can have a certain amount of influence over somebody that you can share something with them today and they respond to it. And 2 weeks later, because of how they have grown and you've not grown, something you share with them tomorrow, you may not be able to reach them. And so it's important to be able to grow influence. So I want you to reach out, like, and share as you come on in on the broadcast, and let your friends know that we're live. We're absolutely live on 2 platforms. We're on Facebook, and of course, we're on YouTube. So reach out to somebody, let them know that we're live, get them in on the conversation. There may be a leader in your church, maybe a leader in an organization that you're part of, maybe one of your supervisors or boss. Call them up, let them know that this is a good program for them to watch out for tonight. How leaders gain influence. How leaders gain influence. It really, I'm telling you, it's a great program for you tonight. All right, here we go. Beginning tomorrow night. Yes, tomorrow night begins our women's convention. Our women's convention begins tomorrow night. We're celebrating 40 years as a ministry. This entire year is a 40-year celebration from the year 1982 all the way to 2022. It's 40 years. And our women is coming together celebrating tomorrow. Actually, my wife is the Women's Convention president, and so I want you to come on and support her. You can, those of you that are off the island, you can be able to watch this on the Voice of Deliverance page tomorrow night, beginning tomorrow night. So tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, and then Sunday morning, she's going to be the speaker. So she's got 3 absolutely dynamic speakers for you. Reverend Sabrina Pinder is going to be one of the speakers. Reverend Angela Roll and Reverend Lorraine Russell. They're going to be the 3 speakers. Powerful team. Women of purpose, fully persuaded. Now, I really don't see the necessity of saying persuaded, because once a woman got something on her mind, she is automatically persuaded, and so she has to drive. And so, I mean, it's just a double blow. But we're looking forward to hearing from them tomorrow night, and we're really looking to hear what it is that God is saying. Absolutely beautiful time of celebration. Service starts at 6:30 p.m., and Sunday morning it starts at 10 a.m. So we're looking forward to this supernatural time in the Lord. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it up on the screen to keep reminding you of it throughout the broadcast. All right? How leaders gain influence. Influence is absolutely necessary if you want to lead people. Absolutely necessary. So big shout out to all of you that are watching. Those of you that are watching from my page, Those of you that are watching from the church's page, good to have all of you. Appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate you. How do leaders gain influence? Now, the first way leaders gain influence is by having integrity. Integrity is very, very important. Very important. Claudette, you have to know. You have to know what it is. You have to know the right thing to make the right decisions. If you wait till crisis time comes before you know what is the right move to make, you're going to find yourself in chaos. And so people get to scratching their head and try to figure out what decisions do I make, what moves do I make. It is because they don't know what is the right thing to do. So the first thing to gain influence in people's life is have some kind of integrity. Stand for something. Stand for something. If you give your word, then you got to stand by your word. If you got to demonstrate the right thing. So the first thing in gaining influence in people's lives is having integrity. The next thing about gaining influence in people's lives is people don't care what you know until they see how much you care. So nurturing is another way that gains influence in people's lives. Your level of influence is going to be your level of care. So let's look at the pinky finger. If your level of care for people is the height of the pinky finger, your influence is going to be the height of the pinky finger in their life. So the more you show how much you care to people, the more love you show to people, will definitely give you an idea how many influence that you can have in their life. So nurturing. Now, nurturing is all about caring for people's development. Nurturing is all about caring for people's development. When a child is young, you have the responsibility of taking care of that child, making sure that they grow and grow in the right way. And so that's what nurturing is all about. Nurturing is all about caring. When leaders care about their position more than they care about people, they weaken their position. Leaders weaken their position when they care about themselves. You know, I'm the boss. I'm on top of the food chain. I'm in charge. When you show people that you care about your position more than you care about them, you weaken your position. But when you show people that you care about them above your position, you actually strengthen your position. Judy, what's happening? How you doing there in Miami, Florida? Good to have you joining us tonight on this broadcast. So we're talking about how leaders gain influence. Now, the thing about this is you're going to be able to look at your leader at the end of these teachings and determine, do you have a good leader? A lot of times we're not growing, not because we don't want to grow, but we're not following someone that creates an environment for us to grow in. So that's very important. So when we follow people that create that environment for growth, then boom, 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 we're going to grow. So the next thing, actually, here's what I've been doing. You remember I talked about integrity. I've taken the letters out of influence. The I, integrity. The N of in integrity was nurturing. Today I'm dealing with the F in integrity, in influence. And what is the F in influence? The F in influence is leaders gain influence when they have faith in people. Leaders gain influence when they have faith in people. Right? That's very important. If you don't believe in me, your influence in my life is not going to grow. You can't not be big in my life if you do not have any faith in me. Faith in people is very important, very, very important. You have to believe in people. You have to believe in their abilities. I had a situation, and I was talking to a family, and I began to, I could have seen a lot of, for lack of a better word, a lot of mess up. But my concern was not highlighting the mess up. My concern was giving the good side of that family a chance. Okay? It is easy to spot mess up. Easy, easy, easy. Judy, it is easy to spot people that are messed up, or the bad side of people. Because, it's more highlighted. But a leader has the ability, Claudette, to look into mess and see good stuff. A leader has that ability to look into it. And so I looked at them, and I ended my conversation with the family, and I said this. I said, everybody deserves a second chance. Everybody. Everybody deserves a second chance. Because I saw goodness in them. Listen, when I came to Nassau, I grew up in an island called Andros. And I was a good fisherman. I could have fishing really good. And then they had something called crabs. We had some crabs we used to catch. And I could catch crabs really good. And that was the extent of my abilities and talents. Look at me now. Look at me now. And the reason why I am here tonight is because somebody saw the best in me. So, just before you run off the handle, just before you just get crazy, try to look in the midst of all of the chaos and all of the dirt and try to find the good in people. Because all of us got a little bad in us, but all of us got some good in us. So identify the good. Your influence in people's lives will grow when you have faith in them. When you have faith in them. It is easy to spend the rest of the night talking about the bad things people do to you. But it's so much better to talk about the good things that people do. So let's highlight the good. So, have faith in people. Have faith in people. That's how you gain influence in their life. All right? Here's the thing. I don't care how much money you have. You could have all the money that, in fact, you could have so much money until the banks tell you, don't bring no more. We got enough of your money. You could have so much money. You could have so much assets. Now, assets and your money make things possible. Now, I'm not telling you money ain't good. Look here, money good. Money is great. Assets makes things happen. But you know what makes things, asset makes things possible. But you know what makes things happen? People. So, if you have all the assets in the world and you don't believe that these people can work it or make that happen, just like you don't have any assets. If you have a yard full of heavy equipment, I don't believe none of y'all could drive these heavy equipment. So they're not going to leave your yard. They're going to continue to be there. If you want to build a house and you go to 6 contractors and you say, I don't believe not one of y'all know how to build a house, you're not going to move in the house because you don't believe in none of them. But when you believe in people and you empower them with the assets, then hey, you're going to make some things happen. So, assets make things possible, but people make things happen. Gotta believe in people. Gotta believe in people. You gotta believe in people. All right? Now, there are 3 feelings when you consider believing in people, Judy. Judy, when you consider believing in people, there are 3 feelings that gonna come to your mind, but you gotta avoid them. There are 3 feelings that's going to come to your mind, but you got to avoid them if you want to be successful at believing in people. All right? Number one, fear is going to come to you. Number two, dislike is going to come to you. Number three, contempt is going to come to you. Those are feelings that's going to come to you. If you are afraid of people, you ain't going to know how to handle them. If you are afraid of people, you're not going to know how to handle them. If you see someone that you're afraid of, you avoid them, and they could be the absolute best person on earth. I find myself in that category a lot. Because, Judy, I have them kind of face what don't look inviting. You know, I just look like I'm mad all the time. I just look mean. I just have them kind of face. I know, you got to blame my parents. I inherit them kind of face, Claudette, that just look mean and mad. And so I may frighten people away from me. But if you ever get to meet me, you'll find that I'm one of the nicest person on the planet. So, one of the feelings that you got to avoid is fear. Because when you're afraid of people, you don't know how to handle them. Then, if you dislike people, listen to this now. You could never have faith in someone you dislike. No, you know what happened. And it is unfair to try to lead people that you don't like. If I don't like you, I don't want to follow no leader that don't like me. Because I will never believe that you're leading me in the right direction if you don't like me. If you don't like me, you don't want anything good for me. Oh, I don't like you, but, I'm going to still see that, make sure that you make it. I'm still going to see that you survive. I'm going to still see that you get set up. No, the devil is a liar. If you do not like people, you shouldn't lead them. So, right there, influence is gained when you have faith in people. Faith in people doesn't happen when, number one, you're afraid of them, or number two, you don't like them. The third feeling that you stay away from is contempt. You don't look down on people, right? If you look down on people, you won't respect them. Everybody's entitled to respect. I don't care where you meet them. They are entitled to respect. I told somebody, could have been maybe yesterday, I says, the customer that spends $1 is worth just as much as the one that spends $100. You don't know. I like fiddle around with carpentry. I have all kind of cuts on my hand as a result of building things. So some of you look at some of you that have been to my house will look at the things that I've built and say, oh, that's nice. You really did a good job with that. But I got a lot of cuts trying to get there. The person that spends $1 almost lost their hand trying to make the $1. Or almost was in a critical accident trying to make the $1. So everything and everyone has to be valued. Everyone has to be valued. So three feelings that's going to come to you when you consider having faith in people. Number one, fear of them is going to come to you. Number two, dislike is going to come to you. And number three, contempt. So, number one, if you're afraid of them, you ain't going to know how to handle them. If you don't like them, you don't qualify to lead them. And then if you look down on them, you'll never respect them. Everybody should be respected. As I grew up, I always grew up around church. I always felt like you ought to respect your elders. And which is true. You ought to respect your elders. But watch it. The Bible says Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and thy mother. Right? The same Bible also says, parents do not provoke children to wrath. Right? So what are you saying? There must be a mutual level of respect. I must respect you, and you must respect me. So it has to come both ways. So how, as a leader, I need influence. To lead, you need influence. To lead, you must have influence. If you don't have any influence, you will have nobody following. So how do I gain influence? You gain influence by having faith in people. It is something about believing in people that makes people just stand tall and make them soar. It's just something about that. It's just something about believing in people that makes people just stop. I mean, just do extraordinary things. It's just something about it, right? The other thing about faith in people is, don't ever think that people cannot detect when you are not being real. What are you talking about, Pastor? I could say, it's easy to say from your mouth, oh, I love you, I care about you. But inside of you saying something different. People can tell when your life is not in harmony, when your words are saying something and your actions are saying something different. Don't ever fool yourself in thinking people cannot tell it, because people can tell. So, what does faith in people mean? Be real with them. Be real with them. It is better to be real with people. Show your real self than to be any other thing. People can see it. People can detect it. And so it is so important as leaders that we be real. Watch it. If something demonstrated on the outside that it's not working, it's because something is wrong on the inside. So you have to correct what's on the inside of you. And so in order to have faith in people, you have to start on the inside of you. Don't just say it because that's a nice thing to say. You have to say it because it really means you. If your outward display is not that you have faith in people, it's because your inward belief is not in people. So you got to watch out for it. People will try harder, they'll rise higher when they can discern, see, or feel that you believe in them. So, here's three things we just learned. Here's three things we just learned about how to gain influence. Number one, you have to have integrity. Integrity becomes easy when you know beforehand what is the right thing to do. The crisis doesn't define the character or create the character. The character is created before the crisis. The crisis only brings it out. If someone is lying, they're not lying because they're in a jam. They lie because they're a liar. So, gaining influence begins with integrity. Then, it begins with nurturing. You know, nurturing is the softest side of leadership, but it's the hardest side. Nurturing is the softest side of leadership. You know, when you show people that you care and you love, it just makes you look like you're soft. It makes you look like, oh, you marshmallow. But that's the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing. It's hard to put them before me. Everyone is concerned about me getting straight, and then they get straight in the interim. You know something? You know what I realize? As I teach, I'm going to teach some of you right out of my life. In a good kind of way. You're going to get larger and larger, and then you're going to just grow right out of my life. And I don't have a problem with that, because I'm not teaching you so that you can benefit my life. Wrong motive. I'm teaching so that you can benefit your life. I'm teaching you so that your vision could come out. I was talking to somebody today. I said, what is important is you being able to sleep at night. There are going to be some things that you're going to do, that nobody is going to be able to see why you do it, or even could comprehend why you did what you did. But if your heart is feeling good about what you did, it doesn't matter what nobody else say. And sometimes people are not going to understand why you did, Judy, what you did. Claudette, people ain't going to understand why you did what you did. And sometimes you want to get people to understand why you did what you do, or why you're doing what you're doing, and they're not going to understand. But what brings peace of mind is at night I can sleep good because I done my best. I did what I did for my heart. I did what I did with all that was in me. My neck was on the line, but I really didn't care. I could have lost my life, but I really don't care. I just want to do what's in my heart to do, the good thing that's in my heart to do. So the nurturing side of leadership is about caring about people. And you are caring about their growth, caring about their personal development. I'm not trying to get 5,000 followers so I can look good. I'm trying to reach one person so that their life could be better. So that their life, and as your life, as I minister every week, I can feel my life getting better. Because as I try to find food for you, I'm finding food that I needed. And as I minister out, the Bible said the word of God is like a two-edged sword. So as I chop forward with the word, I'm chopping backwards, and so you're being benefited and I'm being benefited. I feel like I'm being stretched. I feel I'm being stretched. And so influence begins with integrity, nurturing, and then faith in people. Faith in people. All right. Now, I don't know whether or not we're going to be doing anything on Thursday, because we're going to be in our women's convention. So more than likely, I'm not going to be doing anything on Thursday. But the next time we get together, the next word in influence is, the next letter is L. And what do leaders really do well that gains influence? Listen. Listen, listen, listen. Listen. It is easy to say you listening, but do you really listen? Or you just hear what they say, but you're not listening to what they say? Leaders have this way of, before people finish talking, they have an answer to whatever they're going to say. But I'm not going to mess with that tonight. We're going to get into that in our next broadcast. But really, I really appreciate all of you that have been a part of the worship experience. We're talking about how leaders gain influence. How leaders gain influence. Number one, by integrity. Number two, by nurturing. Tonight we talked about faith in people. Believe in them. Believe in them. You'll be surprised at many persons out there that have gifting that's right under your nose. But if you don't believe in them, you will never benefit from it. But you got to open yourself up to it. Well, thank you so much. Listen, don't forget, our women's convention starts on tomorrow night. Tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m., our women's convention begins at our church. We're looking forward to a really good time in the Lord. The women's going to come together and celebrate. And listen, I don't have a problem hanging out with them, and I'm hearing what it is that God is saying. Listen, I love you all. Appreciate you so much. I'm looking forward for us being together some kind of way, somehow. I love you, I love you, I love you. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Don't forget, leaders were born with influence, but it has to grow. It has to grow. And leadership is all about influence. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.